shall be all. I shall be one.
Hello my fellow rushers. In this video, we will dive deep into the exclusive lore of Colossal Warfare DLC. This unique story materials were dropped in the Broken One event, which was conducted on the official Ironhide Game Studios Discord server. The main idea of the event was puzzle solving and treasure hunt for DLC keys, but on a closer look, it revealed a thrilling dark story with few twists on the line, which I am granted honor to tell you now. How did it all start? This story, full of dark secrets and heroism, happened in prior to the action of Colossal Warfare campaign. It was the time when devilish scheme of mechanical conquest was completely beyond the eyesight of the Alliance, sealed with remote mountain holes, but winds of destiny decided to have it all revealed. It was a terrible week for humble fishermen. Not much to be caught, not much to write about, but on the 7th day, his dream of big catch came true and turned into a nightmare as he caught something very interesting in South Lagoon. Something that was neither fancy fish nor old boots. It was weird looking piece of metal and scrap, black hull, all soaked with salty water, some cogwheels and wires piercing from it. It was quite unnatural for the local waters, even unnatural in general. Completely stumped by such a discovery, the fisherman headed to his good friend, Professor Hackbeard. Darwin engineer had an isolated lab on the Stone Plainlands not far from the Bleak Valley. Faced with technological marvel, Professor decided to dismantle the hull and to figure out what was inside. A hard drive, miraculously untouched, survived under many layers of steel. Deciding to use his mentoring position, Professor asked his assistant, the Rookie, to help him. While he would be mechanically and experimentally uncovering the deeper layers of the inscription not readily accessible, Rookie would study the contents of such open data segments. Rookie accepted the task, but what they found in the depths of the discovered hardware was beyond any wildest expectations. Grymbeard was traveling around the world for an indefinitely lengthy period of time. An outcast, he eventually settled on a remote mountainous island. He set up his assets, a shelter, and started exploring. After 5 months of exploring, he encountered dark steel and began a frivolous documentation.
I have begun the studying of local ore. Initial analysis showcases a few of its qualities. It's quite sturdy, but doesn't crumble during temperature shift and seems to be easily mendable in right conditions. I have questioned the material dark steel for its coloration. It is my benefit of doubt no one discovered it before me. I could use it to my advantage.
Grymbeard studied the properties of newfound metal for 10 days. The note on the day 170 and 175 respectively holds the following.
Further tests showcase the material seems to have sort of memory. Should it take any particular shape for a prolonged period and then have it changed, it will gradually restore itself to that shape. High levels of heat seem to speeden up the process. I tried to melt the material completely. It reassembled as easily as it could possibly be. Before I knew it, it reverted completely to a hard shape. Truly magnificent.
It may give us first glance on what dark steel truly is. Being a brand new material in Kingdom Rush franchise, it is definitely not a generic material. Grymbeard continued working with metal, discovering more and more properties of it. For an example, a note on day 190 tells us that dark steel can be influenced by chemicals, making it easier to mold and shape. Also, the processed dark steel needs less heat to melt.
I have deduced the dark steel can be influenced with chemicals. After applying a few mixes, I tested its heat resistance. it became easier to mold, reshape. So far, it seems to be taking generic shapes.
This reminds me of one particular enemy in the DLC influenced by molten steel. And this type of molten steel was not just molten metal, it was a liquid as a medical mixture. But these simple experiments were nothing compared to what came after. We know what Grymbeard used dark steel to create his machinery clones, but how? How did he apply metal to it? His diary unravels the truth behind this mystery. Prior to Grymbeard starting to apply chemicals to the process of dark steel, he discovered a typical structure of metal itself.
I studied the cellular structure closer. The atomic shape resembles a typical one of natural metals, but on closer inspection resembles biological cells. This thing can carry biological material.
Putting this and notes from day 170 and 175, we can deduce that dark steel is not just an unnatural ore, it's a living metal. This trait enables Kratoa, lava creature consisting of molten dark steel, to reform itself, return to primal shape after some time, moreover split itself when needed. This is such new thing for Kingdom Hearts Universe, and it is implemented in a very interesting way. Now, you may ask how the fact of dark steel being alive helped Grymbeard. Well, let's look further. As mentioned before, for next 10 days, Grymbeard was working with chemical mixes to change properties of metal samples. But a bit after, an accident happened which changed the course of his work completely.
I chopped my hair today. The steel piece was lying fresh from the heating when a hair piece fell from my head. The steel remolded by itself. It became a pink, gooey liquid. The metal had absorbed organic material and turned into something completely different, as if it had properties to carry a sample and save an imprint of it.
This was the demonstration of dark steel's memory properties, as well the proof of the statement that the metal can be used as a catalyst to carry biological material. After it, Grymbeard decided to experiment with the organic sample he got on day 200.
I decided to cultivate the organic matter acquired in the day 200. The specimen was put in a vat, which I filled with hastily made nutritious fluid. After 72 hours, the pink organic matter started to transform again. In the end, it turned into a pile of flesh, a screaming pile. One that had my face. Whatever thing I birthed, I executed it on the spot.
When Grymbeard saw what dark steel was capable of, his cloning venture began.
I decided to recreate the accident out of curiosity. This time, I added extra things beforehand using electrodes to mimic nervous system. The thing that appeared before me had my shape and my look, but it still was a mindless, saliva-dripping and moaning construct. I terminated it like one before.
For the next weeks, Grymbeard noticed that the process was not going that well. He even had to set up a furnace to dispose the failed subjects.
Failure after failure after failure. I keep trying different combinations of chemicals and electrolyte difference. Nothing good so far. Some have extra heads, others disproportionate or lacking limbs. Some are too feral and some have nothing going in their heads. I keep burning every single one. I have to keep going.
Now it finally explains us why there are no imperfect and mutated clones in Grymbeard's rank. He incinerated all the imperfect ones. The enemy design of DLC was not an accident, and it makes sense now. This cycle of failing and restarted continued for about a month until Grymbeard finally managed to succeed.
Success! The subject was a completely identical one. It had my shape, it had my look, it had my mind. All memories and skills, knowledge from a single strand of hair imprinted perfectly. It was like looking in a mirror. The potential of this is exactly what I needed.
Discovering the perfect combination of aspects of cloning process, Grymbeard started making more and more of them. I think it is a reason why he became bald. He needs pieces of his own hair to create organic samples for cloning. Clones deemed the original Grymbeard as their father or as their respected equal. This way, the mad Darwin inventor got an army of loyal servants, although he was clearly aiming to create something else, to create more.
I consider myself a fool. I didn't think about it first. Such material is perfect for creating robotic servants as much as fully organic. The imprinting means that they are hard to destroy and can be reshaped and restored easily. The unique traits of metal could also boost the properties I shall set in them. It is even easier than with the clones. I can imprint the information and cognitive properties into a polished piece of dark steel with a voltage of different frequency, bypassing long and tedious traditional process of programming. I can create entire motherboards and microcircuits from fresh metal. These puny chombots and clockwork insects will be no match to my vigilant sentries and speedy scouts. Grymbeard, you are genius.
As we can see from the notes from the day 300 and later, Grymbeard directly wins down to megalomania and insanity. His diary ends on day 320 with following notes.
You will see my genius. I need no one but myself and my great machines. Long ago, you thought I could make a simple toaster. Now I have created life itself. One in my image, my mind, my skills. I shall make the greatest, the biggest machine anyone has seen. I shall march to the gates of those who wronged me and stomp them into the ground. I shall be all. I shall be one. All. Hail, Grymbeard!
Here, the mad inventor shares plan on building automaton, where he started building it when apparently he had been fully deranged and was thinking of himself as an almighty being.
This is what God felt when he made life. Now I know what it feels like to be God.
He considered automaton to be his magnum opus, the quintessence of his genius which he could use to do what he desired. Given enough time, a deranged dwarf could expand his army to an astronomical extent and finish this machine, so nothing, not even alliance, would have stopped him. But what unfolded next was something that Grymbeard, for his genius and all his insanity, couldn't expect, but something he would definitely feel, a simple truth of every manufacturer. Even out of a myriad, a perfect product, one is bound to be
a failure.